You're very welcome to Confident Women Ireland's Woman to Woman show with me, Roisin Nicleric. You know, Ireland, we are a nation that loves our animals and we're known for the land of horses. And, you know, unfortunately, there are some animals that really do need rescuing and a home and love and a shelter to call home. I'm really delighted to introduce you to a woman who I really, really admire, respect, and I'm just delighted to introduce you to Catriona Lowery, the reluctant rescuer who is the founder of the Hilltop Sanctuary Ireland. Catriona Lowery, you are so very welcome to the Woman to Woman show.
Thank you. I am so delighted. This is really great to be on, especially Confident Women Ireland. Someone said to me, God, you're not really confident though, Catriona. I said, this will make me confident.
Catriona, you are so confident. And, you know, because we've met a couple, is it 2 years now? How old is Tiernan?
So Tiernan was a year in March. So nearly 16 months?
Yes.
Yeah, 16, 17 months, yeah.
Imagine we know how long we know one another virtually to an animal.
That's like the ruler measuring. And you know what? It's so funny. That's how I recap on things. I think, when did I get that cat? When did I get that dog? So I connect that to whatever I'm trying to remember. Oh my God. There you go.
Catriona, you are the founder. As you say in your website, it is what it says on the tin. You're the reluctant rescuer,
yes.
And you're the founder of Hilltop Animal Sanctuary based down in County Clare, in the west of Ireland.
Yes,
because you had a completely different career before you became the rescuer. So, how did you become a rescuer?
So it was definitely not on my idea. It wasn't in my life map. You know, where we all imagined our future selves.
Yeah,
definitely that did not. Even having a pet it didn't even come into my, my visualizations of what I wanted. And I was about to say it wasn't on the cards. And then it was on somebody else's cards, because I think I told you this, that I had a very different life. I loved fashion. I had a very colorful career. I worked like yourself, radio. I dabbled in television and advertising, public relations, and so that's what I wanted in life. I was very much attracted to glitz and glamour. I suppose I was a bit I suppose unrealistic about that. What I thought I needed and wanted it didn't exactly suit who I really was, but I suppose I wasn't connected to who I really was. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I get you. Yeah.
So I went with a friend who was equally big into going out, career, clothes, fashion, heels. Didn't even over a decade ago, I didn't even have a pair of wellies. I would be like, how do I get into these? That would be mine. And she wanted to go to this fortune teller that was very well known and very expensive. And I went with her just to support her, just like if somebody was going to buy a new dress and they wanted a second opinion. I just went along. Of course, she just wanted to know, when was I going to meet him? When was I going to get married? How many children I was going to have? And I just didn't care what she told me. And it was so funny. The minute I went in, the fortune teller, she really changed towards me, and she went, oh God, kind of thing. I was like, Jesus. So, to cut a long story short, I reluctantly handed my money over to her at the end, because everything she told me was crazy. It is just like, and she's speaking about somebody else, and it was all horses and dark valleys, and the girl that actually looked like me that she showed me in the cards, with a lantern and all these horses coming behind her, and I was like, oh Jesus. I says, Anna, thank you, but this has nothing to do with me, and bye. And she goes, it is you. I'm sorry, it is. Everything, absolutely everything she told me, except for one final thing, probably is in the future, hasn't come true, but everything, how this would start, it has all come true. And you know what? If anyone else told me this story, I would be going, yeah. But you know, I can't. She said to me that day, the cards don't lie. What I see is not a lie. You know, this is the truth, and I can't change it to make it into anything else. You know. So yeah, so I became the reluctant rescuer because she told my story before it even begun.
Wow.
It is.
Tell us then about how in action. So that is the story. But so what
Yes.
was the first action of you becoming a rescuer? What first animal did you rescue and why?
So
and where were you when you saw the horse?
So basically I'd moved back from Dublin to Limerick City. Dublin, you know, because I was trying to make a name for myself in media and going for auditions, and I got a few small things like First City and with Simon Delaney, a small part of a drama with him, and you know, the bread and butter money was advertisement, you know, doing, you know, extra work and stuff like that. Sorry, I have to try and recall my timeline as I'm talking. So basically, my mother always wanted me to have some sort of security, and so she said,
mothers do.
Yeah, so she wanted me to do teaching, so I'd always have that to fall back on. So I did. I went into teaching. Things in Dublin didn't work out. It was very hard to pay rent and waiting for the phone to ring. I had no security at all. So I moved back to Limerick. My sister was in Limerick. I started teaching in Limerick. And then from teaching in Limerick, I ended up teaching in a school in Ennis and Clare. And I liked it. And you know, it was, you know, the wages were good. I liked it. So I got a job part-time with Clare FM, just doing entertainment news. I still traveled up and back to Dublin occasionally for the odd bit of work. And then so one day my sister said to me, you know, oh, should we do something like give back? And I was like, oh. And I was like, okay, what will we do? And she says, my friend volunteers in a charity shop for an animal rescue in Clare. So I said, okay, I'll do the windows, because I used to work in fashion and fashion shows and things like that. So yeah, so that was just the start. But I definitely kept them from a distance. And I'd be doing the windows, and people would be coming in, surrendering their pets, and telling terrible stories about cruelty. But I actually still didn't connect with it. I was like, oh, this window looks great, taking pictures and like, I'm going to buy that jacket. And you know what I mean? She'd be looking at the labels going, how can anyone give this away? It's fabulous. And and then from that, I continued doing Clare FM, teaching. And then one Saturday going shopping, the roof down. Yeah, that car had to go when the rescue work started. The roof down, sunny day, and I saw a kind of maybe just coming up in the year, full yearling tied at the side of the road. And I broke hard, pulled up, and I don't know how or why, because there was always horses, but why her, like, you know? And there was an embankment up to her. I was wearing a pair of heels and really inappropriate clothes for climbing in front of traffic. And I climbed up, and she was tied with a short blue rope. The ground beneath her was all plowed up, so she had nothing to eat. And I looked at her and I said, you're not staying here. I don't know why I said that. I said, you're not staying here. And I didn't know how I was going to untie a horse and take her with me. And next thing, I slid back down the embankment, and there was 4 men facing me. What are you doing with our pony? And I was like, oh, is this your pony? And oh my God, I have to get out here. And so I got talking to them, and you know, you had to use the gift of the gab, because the one was pretty mad that I was up with his full stroke pony. And so I said, oh, she's beautiful, what's her name? And getting into the car, and then what do you think happened? The car wouldn't start.
What?
So I couldn't make a quick escape, and so I was like, okay, Yeah, so and one of them said, "Give me the keys," and I was like, "Oh yes, of course. Here's the keys of my car." And they so they attempted. They went down the road, three of them pushing it, one with the passenger door open, the driver's door open, and it was a straight road, but they couldn't get it started. So they said sorry, and that was it. And yeah, and I bumped into them again, and I kept asking them how she was, and then I said, "Will you give her to me, because she won't survive there." And then I did the things that we all do in those circumstances. I did ring those numbers. I thought I would just ring a number and someone else would come help her, but nobody came. I reported her to all the, and then yeah, so I went into the local co-op store. I asked them for hay. They didn't have hay. They gave me haylage sealed up, so I started feeding her and giving her water. And I that's how I got to know the owners, and the man who actually owned her, that was there that the first day. He was a nice man, but he thought that was okay. He did actually think it was okay, and so he wouldn't give her to me. And then sadly, one day she was involved in an accident, and he rang me and he said, "Do you want her?" And I said yes. Had nowhere. I didn't have a field. I didn't have a horse box. I had nothing, and I was like, yes. I promised her I would get her away from there. This is my chance. And she was my first rescue, and now she's living with a lovely family with kids. They adore her. And actually, before I got her to that home, I gave her to somebody who she ended up being sold on, and I didn't know where she was. And I someone saw her on Dundeel, so I had to buy back my own rescue pony.
Wow.
Because I was afraid where she would end up.
Yes.
You know, so, and then I rehomed her to this lovely family who've adopted her. And that's the thing about adoption, they always remain yours, if you know what I mean. If the people no longer want her, she will come back to me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So after that, loads of horses began to appear that were tied or in bad places or treated badly. And yeah, that was it. It was like the rescue bug bit me, you know. And so I actually don't know the amount. It could be up on 60, 70 now, horses that I've rescued, and with the help of other rescuers have gone on to fabulous homes. But there'll always be the ones that can't move on because they're so traumatized from what has happened to them.
So tell us, because you have a wonderful Twitter feed where every day you upload all of your rescues, because you know there should be a book written about your rescues. There should be an absolute child's book. There should be one.
No, I have, yeah, definitely. It's definitely, like I said before, there's something special. I think like every rescue space, there's something, well, it's completely upsetting when they arrive first and they are so broken. But when you get the corner, when they turn that corner where they realize they're safe, and how they help each other, like, so the sanctuary, and I'm so grateful to Pat Tobin, who's given his yard home for me to do this. Yeah, Roisin, there's something magical, like every other. Yeah, they are, you know, how they just be there for each other is amazing. And how they, like, there's some ponies that we might not be able to touch when they first arrive, but they will allow another animal, even a cat, to come up to them. And
yes, I saw that. Yeah,
it is amazing, you know. But while it's amazing, and we post all these lovely pictures, but you know, there's always the undercurrent of what's coming in next, and you always have to be ready for that. Like you know, people go, God, you must be really strong, and you're not strong. You kind of, it's like having one arm is broken with the hurt, but the other arm becomes stronger, if you know what I mean. So if that's probably a bad metaphor, but I find why I get really sad, but I'm really strong at the same time. So it's like that, the strong part compensates, carries the other part that's really broken from it. And definitely there is a brokenness. I can't speak for other rescuers, but I am definitely broken, but I've become more resilient. I manage the sad part that I hold for the animals, and probably sad for myself as well, that I've let go of the life that I'm not saying the glitz and the glamour and all that would have fulfilled me, but definitely things like getting married. Maybe I think I would have liked to have got married. I think maybe, I'm sure there's other people going, no, you don't want that, but I would have liked to have tried, maybe.
Yeah. So tell us about the animals that you have, because they really should be a storybook and even a little children's animated programs about them. Tell us about Killian.
Oh, Killian. So Killian skips now. It's like he knows, I suppose Killian arrived to us, he was thrown out on the roundabout in Limerick City. So he was, literally, if they just slowed down the vehicle but it was kind of moving at the same time as he was hurled out, but he was only a foal, so he was tiny, so it made it easy to do. So that was really difficult when he arrived in, because he was like a human baby calling for his mommy. And that was, and so you try and bottle feed him, and that's the hardest part. I suppose I can identify them with mothers trying to get a baby to latch on.
Yeah.
Because he just did not want me or the bottle. He wanted his mother. And so he found it difficult to stand and all that, but the vet said if we could get him up, he had a fighting chance. So we kept on pushing him back up. He had given up more. It was more emotionally that was keeping him down. He was brokenhearted. And then, as you know, we had, his liver isn't the best because of his start in life. His mommy probably had to eat a lot of ragwort and it's highly toxic weed to survive, and that goes into then the baby and the foal in the womb, and so he struggles with his health, but he loves life. And when the vet wanted us to let him go recently because he had a setback, he did not want to go. So the vet wasn't very happy with me, because I was like, he obviously was the expert, but I was like, Killian looked at me, and sometimes when horses aren't ready to go, and then we have had foals come into the yard. They come into us, they're rescued just so we are there when the vet has to put them to sleep. And the foals and the horses, that they know they don't want to be here anymore because the pain is too much.
Yeah. And tell us about the two famous lovebirds donkeys, Eli and Ellie. Tell us about those, and then the little ponies.
Can I tell you, I actually so jealous of those two donkeys, because sometimes I look at them and I go, oh my God, like you nearly go tree is a crowd, because they have these moments of intimacy, and there's a huge age difference between them, but of course animals being animals, they see no difference. They see no difference in each other or no judging. And Ellie is way older than Eli, so she's slower on her legs, and sometimes he'll try to push her on, and she's like, oh, give me a minute. And they groom each other, and if they even become separated by a paddock, the calling for each other, they run to each other. I swear, it's like magical. They adore each other, and both Eli came from Limerick City, where a gang of youths had beaten him up really badly, and a group of women stood around him and protected him until rescue came. And then Ellie lived her whole life on her own and just used for breeding, and she spent like decades on her own. The only time she had company was when she was put into foal, and then when the foal was old enough, was just pulled away from her. So her life was, she didn't know what real love was. She had love obviously for her babies, but it became routine for her. And it is amazing that they have each other now. And and that's why they can never be separated. The bond is amazing. So yeah, they're all amazing. And then our two newcomers, they're helping each other. Like one has no tail following a dog attack.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's can I tell you that this morning I looked like I had rolled in flour because trying to put talcum powder and cream to protect her bum flies, the weather, and horses naturally swish that tail, and and then the full big foal with her, he was used on a sulky, so he's very shut down. We're having huge difficulties with him trying to support him. It's not that it's hard, it's difficult for him, should I say, not for us, because he's really afraid of people.
Oh no.
Yeah, but when they're together in the paddock, like they're running and everything, but so we try and keep our distance for now to let him settle.
Let him just find his space and find his footing, and
Yeah,
know that he's safe, and know that there's no harm going to come to him, and that he's loved.
yes, and I think once he realizes that, everything else will follow.
Tell us about the little ponies.
So the ponies are like they're so clever. They will find ways into the feed room. They will find ways into the house. It is unbelievable what they get out of. Like, you think they're securely in something, but they'll find a way. They may be small, but they've got big personalities. So a lot of the ponies would have come again. They've all come from obviously difficult situations, but they've really, all of them have bounced back amazingly. But they're a very bonded herd.
Yeah.
So obviously we can't keep them all. So a lot that come in do move on. A lot we can't actually publicly share. Well, one, because there's a pending court case, things like that, and there's different reasons we can't share a lot of horses when they're actually with us. But there's some that will never move on, because I think it might set them back terribly if they were to leave us, given what they've been through.
I think the little ponies who Eli was with before, love took over him.
Yes. Oh, they're amazing. And then sometimes they think they're in the Grand National. Like, sometimes they go, what the hell is happening? And they're like running so hard. Their little hearts are, they love running and they love playing. And it's magical, Roisin. It really is magical.
You know what, animal? They know that they found heaven. They found heaven in the sanctuary of your Hilltop Sanctuary.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a sense of heaven because of their presence, if you know what I mean. Their presence is really, really amazing. And yes, in the morning, sometimes I think I have to do live web feed in the morning, because breakfast in the morning is insane. I have every horse calling, whinnying, cats, dogs, pigs, the goat, the rabbits. It's like an orchestra of animal sounds. And while they're all excited that I'm awake and she's awake finally for breakfast, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I find it, because so many, even amongst, say, the cats or dogs, there's different dietary requirements. And then with the horses, they expect that, even though they're on grass, they want their hay nets filled and their little treats. And Killian knows he has to get his medicine every morning, so he waits at a certain gate. It's amazing, but it is. I do empathize with breakfast chefs in hotels when everyone goes down at once for breakfast. I often think this is what it's like, because I'm trying to mix up the different things, and you're choosing who will I feed first. And like, sometimes I could have 50 cats around me. Wow. And you know what's the hardest part is? When you put down the bowls, you have to get out really quickly, because there's ones that will eat really quickly and then go to the next bowl and the next bowl or the next feeding station. I have one cat that manages to get around to every feeding station and feed, because she knows my next place I'm going to. So wow. I try trick her. by changing my routine, you know. So yeah, it is. It's a. But you know this. You know how amazing animals are, and
Yeah.
I think it's a pity more people don't let animals in to their lives, because
Yeah.
really we are I am myself and Pat are helping them, but they also have helped me and Pat, and anyone that comes to the sanctuary, they get a sense of peace and love from them, you know.
And tell us about Tiernan and his beautiful mommy.
So Tiernan and his mommy. So we've had to separate them. That wasn't easy because he has to be gelded.
Oh.
And then, you know, because he's at, you know, hormones take over, and
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and the other girls as well. So that was hard, but you know, there's a way to do it that isn't so traumatic. So first of all, they still could be together, but there was a fence separating them. And then as he gets more connected or bonded with the other ones, we start to pull him away more and more. And so Ria's really bonded with the small pony herd, and Tiernan is with the boys. But Tiernan is just amazing.
Character.
It's no bite or kick. You know, when the young ponies, they're giddy and all that. He is amazing, and it's great. His mommy will never have another foal again, because you know she would have had a lot of foals, and again, that's fate, that they came to us because of an accident on the road, and that saved them, because they ended up being put into a field with injuries, but there was no vet called, and that's how we found out about them. So it's like a blessing in disguise. They did go through an awful time, but you know, it gave their rescue day came because of that, you know. So Tiernan is amazing. He loves climbing things. Again, I must empathize with mothers when kids want to climb everything.
I had one of those. My son, yeah.
You know, I have friends that go, oh, you just let them do it and they learn. And I'm like, you know, Tiernan loves climbing up and things, but then he climbs up on this like a foot high, a circle thing that we had for a tree, and he climbs up and then he can't get down. So in the middle of the night, you hear him crying. So you have to get up and get him down, and we have to fence it off because he loves the excitement. Look at me. And then he goes, oh no, I can't get down by myself. So I literally, obviously I can't carry him, but I have to pull him down gently, and he's like, thank you, and then he's up again, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ. But they're great, you know, especially in this weather. You can kind of enjoy them more because in the winter the days are shorter, and you're so cold being outside, and you know, but the summer is great because they really and yeah. So hopefully there's this field we're hoping to get, so that will allow us taking more. We are really limited by space. We could fill the place 10 times over, but space, horses need space, you know.
So we'll talk about the fields in a little moment. Tell us
Yeah.
about, before we go into McDara, was Tiernan trying to eat a tree, did I see?
He has ate the tree. It was an Acer tree. I didn't know much about Acer trees. We had a beautiful, majestic mare come into us. The guard seized her and Ali, and so she had to be put to sleep after we did everything. She went into an equine hospital, but sadly, her neglect was gone too far, and she was worth an awful lot of money. I believe 50,000 or something, but she still managed to be, even though she was of value. You know, some people, they value their horses because of their monetary value. Yeah. And even though she was worth a lot, she still ended up being neglected badly. And so the stable was built in her memory, the stables, and the Acer tree was bought for her. Oh. And I don't know if you know Acer tree, they've this beautiful wine maroony leaf on them. So it must have been the color of the leaf or something. Tiernan just... Between McDara and Tiernan, the only thing I can have in pots now is an ivy that they won't go near, because they just, McDara the goat, nothing is safe. Honest to God, he just he thinks everything is, this is my toy shop and I can eat what I want. So yeah, so the tree is dead now, but yeah, McDara
it might regrow.
I'm hoping. I'm trying everything, band-aids and everything, trying to save it, you know. But again, they're only, especially when the dogs chew things or break things, they are things. And I have to keep on saying that. Yeah, I do feel bad for the tree though, I have to say. But they don't know what they're doing, and that's the thing, so you can't be angry for long.
No, but I always remember when Madara arrived, it was Eli that sort of befriended him and went over, and Eli seemed to be the welcoming party.
Yes, so Eli the donkey once he knows an animal is sorted, he goes, my job is done here, and he pulls back when he sees that they're okay. He is amazing. It's like our farrier came one day with his stepson, and his stepson is a wheelchair user. So the farrier just took him out, and he was in his chair. Eli is usually great to get his feet done. Eli would not settle for him, and he kept on nosing the gate. So we're going to have to let him out. We opened the gate. He went straight over to this man's stepson, and he just put his head down gracefully on his lap. It was so special that you can't go taking out your camera. But even the other day when the farrier was up, he goes, that was amazing. He wanted to connect with that, because I think he felt that we were leaving him out. We weren't leaving him out, but the hooves were being done, so we had to close the gate to keep them in. But Eli, how he saw it was differently, that we had left that lovely young man out of the circle.
Well, that made me cry.
Yeah, so we were all like, oh my God. It was a special moment. So yeah, Eli definitely, Roisin, there is something very special about all animals, but there is something in particular special about donkeys. I don't know what it is, but they're serene, they're soulful, and sometimes I'm with them, and you're with something special,
I tell you, I said before we came on air that you reminded me of the divine feminine version of St. Francis of Assisi. You certainly are. And when you think about there's the donkey, Eli to prove it.
Yes, definitely. No, definitely. Sometimes, you feel the presence of something special when you're with animals. So
yeah. And you know who I love as well is Oren and Empathy. They have an amazing relationship.
I've actually left them together now. So, because Oren has a little bit of separation anxiety, so Empathy helps him. And because Empathy has feline leukemia, she can't be with other cats. And that is hard because she doesn't know she has it. And in one way, that's amazing. She doesn't know that she has this in her. So she's living, but she doesn't understand then why she isn't playing with the cat. So, but Oren is amazing. But sometimes he picks her up, and that's a problem. He doesn't realize she picked up. So I'm chasing him to get him to leave down Empathy, and she's like, But they're definitely very bonded. Again, how I don't know how I can rehome one. I don't know, not many people could take on Empathy, because if FELV is highly contagious, so that's a lot of pressure on a home to make sure she doesn't have contact with cats, and then Oren needs her and she needs Oren, so I think, for want of a better word, I'm kind of stuck with them. but I love them. I love them. I adore them. Oren has cost us a lot of money with his chewing because of his separation anxiety and what he's been through. And couch is nothing. I have got dressed in the morning and went to close a button or pull up a zip, and it's not there anymore. So when you leave out your clothes to go to work for the next morning, you have your shower, and he chews zips and buttons and couches and blankets, duvets. He loves opening up a duvet and taking everything apart. Yes. See, you say, but see, if I sent them down to you and all your lovely cushions, they wouldn't be there. But it's cute sometimes.
I suppose they're all yearning for that love and that emotional need that they have from that rejection and that hurt.
Yes, and it's amazing how innately, the way some people say you have to know love to recognize it and all that. I think innately we are all born with this sense of yes, I deserve love. I need love. Like a baby will cry when it wants a cuddle or wants to feed. So they don't think, oh, I don't deserve it, or I better not interrupt anyone. They just call out for it. So I think animals, when the coat of fear falls away, it's like they connect with that again, and they remember. Yes, it's like a missing jigsaw piece, and it's like a feral cat that has known, especially for feral cats who've known a home. Like, it's amazing. They say if a cat without a home, even though they can become feral after 7 to 8 weeks to survive,
Right.
they become feral. Even if they were once a pet, to survive, they become feral. They become fearful, hunting, food is scarce. So, and then when they get a chance to be rescued, and when they remember again, they're up in your lap, they're purring. It is amazing. Anyway, but we all know, even ourselves, how fear can prevent us living. We exist, but we're not living, and the fear prevents us connecting with people, and fear of being hurt. Isn't it true?
Oh yeah, the fear of being hurt, the fear of rejection. And if you just allow things to happen without an attachment to the outcome.
Yes, that's a great line. Without, or predicting the outcome, or
and just letting things be. Then we can enjoy the moment and the experience.
Yes.
Without any baggage.
It's funny. I was, ghosting is a real buzzword at the moment, because so many people are ghosted. And I just said who did I say to? Animals would never think of, oh, today I'm going to pretend you never existed. I'm going to ignore you. And like all these things that
Although my boots does, if he's angry with me. Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. Okay. That's my punishment. No, you're right. There's so much cancel culture and ghosting within humans that, have we lost our ability to be human beings?
Yes, like it's so funny. This Yalom, who's a famous psychotherapist in New York, and he writes books about where he takes clients and he writes their story like a case study. But he one of his books said that how love was the executioner of much pain. Love can heal so much emotional ills, but I actually think animals are the executioner of so much pain, because I know people whose lives have been falling apart and all that, and when they adopt a dog, a cat, or they get involved with volunteering, like, I'm probably jumping subject matter now, but it's amazing how animals are so healing. And and that's why I hate when people roll their eyes and go, they think, oh, listen to the hippie talking. Yeah, I just don't get that.
You're in right company. You're in right company.
It is a fact that animals love you unconditionally. And if you're loved unconditionally, what more do you need in life? Except we have to earn a living and things like that. But that helps us go out, earn, and become what we want to become when we're loved. But so many people won't let that love in. I'm like, let it in.
Catriona, that brings me on nicely. We talk about earn a living. How do you manage to financially?
With great difficulty. to be honest with you, sometimes I actually have given up worrying, because when I have lay awake at night worrying and actually feeling physically sick, like, Pat will always say to me, we have to stop taking in animals. We're not going to be able to do this. But I don't want to be limited. I don't want to say no to an animal because of money, or space is a problem. We can always build something else to contain them until we get them sorted, or they can be, mixed with other animals, or whatever it takes. So I consciously go, because when I have worried really badly, it ends up being fine. So I worried, like, it's like going back and forth in a rocking chair. It achieves nothing. It's not going to put food on the table. It's not going to put money in the bank. Worrying. I have to do something. I'll be honest with you, it is difficult, and I'm not like luxuries. There are no luxuries. There actually is but I don't need luxuries. I can't explain it. I don't need new things anymore. I don't know. There is no other way. And I am not a martyr. And that's why when I share things on Twitter about things I've done, I'm just connecting with maybe something someone else has done for animals. But there's no big flag, look at what I'm doing. I do it because I
You
want
love
to.
animals and you
Yeah,
love another living being, and
yes,
it's the right thing to do. And you
yeah,
know, that is what we're all here on this earth to do, is to look
yes,
after one another, whether it's furry members of Earth or humans. It doesn't matter. We're
yes.
all God's children.
Yes, and you know, when you make that choice, you then can't resent giving up things. But so how do I manage? Like, all whatever money I make with work obviously goes on. Cash is really, really generous, and he really helps me out. And people like you are so giving and so kind that I know for a fact in the morning, if we took in a horse that needed an operation that was going to cost a lot of money, I now have the confidence that I can say I need help, and I would get that help. So, I know now I have the confidence for them. I can't be proud anymore.
No.
There was a time I did it all by myself. I lost so much money. I was in so much debt. Nobody would believe what I did. I sold. I remember a low point. There was a time when I sold all my jewelry in a plastic zippy bag, and that was a low point because the woman was very wealthy and she gave me very little money for all my jewelry, and that was gathered from relationships and my work. When I was full time actively working in lots of different jobs, you know. And then another time I went to one of those indoor or car boot things. So, you know, those things where people pull up in their cars and car boot sales. I don't know the correct term, but I had nothing left. So I really had to look at absolute rubbish I had and try sell it because I needed it for a horse that needed veterinary care. And I literally, my wages were gone because I was trying to feed so many horses. And I was so proud. I wouldn't ask people for help, but can I tell you, pride stinks.
And pride before a fall. And pride, pride is a useless emotion because people will help. People want to help.
But that's what I've realized in the last few years. And people are so kind. I don't like when people give a lot. I like when everyone gives small because then everyone's doing it together. So not one person is taking a big hit, if you know what I mean.
But Catriona, if you think about it this way, you're doing what we all would love to do. So that is our contribution, of everybody's contribution, people who want to donate to the Hilltop Sanctuary Ireland. That is saying thank you for doing something for humanity. But you're doing something. You're saving a life.
Yeah,
you're giving love. You're giving shelter and medical attention.
Yeah, and I'm listening to what you're saying, and I am taking that on board. It's because people want to. They're not being forced. So I have to remember that instead of going, no, I'm okay. That person wants to help, and I who am I to go no to that? You know. And anyway, it's for the animals. So yeah, like I am really hoping that I can better balance my career. You know what I mean? Because
tell us about your career, because you are a guidance counselor.
Yes, I'm a guidance counselor. So like I was telling you earlier, I did a diploma. I was a teacher. First of all, my first qualification was I did arts, then public relations, and then teaching. And then I did a diploma in cognitive behavioral techniques. So I love everything is whatever way we think we'll feel. And I love using those techniques to support people when I'm in that guidance counseling situation, because our thoughts are everything, you know, and they drive us. And that's why when we think irrational thoughts, we act out as if they're real. And then, which is so, when it's not necessary, when that thought mightn't even be true, you know. So I love working on that level. So mainly young men I end up working with, and do you know what's so amazing? When someone really engages with the work, it's like when they do their homework and you're like, 10 out of 10. And it's amazing when you see that change, when they have really worked hard in counseling, and that their life, like I have a client now for over 10 years, and someone would say, God, why is he with you 10 years? Like, you must be rubbish. But I see him less and less and less. It's more about keeping that show on the road by supporting him. The show he has is amazing. The right characters and the job and the hobbies, it's amazing. And you're just giving that space where people can look at, like I say, what is really going on. If we all dealt with what's really going on, we wouldn't waste energy on stuff that,
if we get to the source, the real source of the issue, instead of masking it and distracting and diverting, and just go straight to the source, we'll all be okay. We move on.
Yeah, should we even do that ourselves? Like, I might be really sulky and moany and give out to Pat about something, and I don't know, it's not that I'm giving out about. And what's really going on is maybe I'm lonely, I'm worried, he's heading off and I can't head off, so I might go, are you okay? Yeah, I'm grand. I'm like, I'm not grand, I wish I was going out. But you know what, maybe we're better off saying this. Again, it's being able to say I miss something, or I'd like something, or I'm lonely. Like, people talk about, elderly people being lonely, and I'm like, not that I'm, but you know what I mean? Oh, sorry.
I get you. I get you.
So loneliness can be tough. The money and the loneliness. Animals are great company, but sometimes you need a conversation as well.
I don't know if Eli would allow conversations.
Eli just wants to be brushed. I brushed him, oh my God, the other day for so long. He just loves being brushed. It's like, I'm so afraid my phone might go now, Roisin.
Yeah, so that was my next question is, if people want to donate to you, how do they donate?
So I suppose there is, like, if they go on to Amazon, I have various things on Amazon, like little books and things, but I will have a raffle coming up, and I will throw that out there that people might buy a ticket, so I have to put that together. And then what other way? I have my blog, The Reluctant Rescuer, that's in book format. I have to remind people I write how I talk, and there's very little room for editing, so it is hard. The grammar, there might be wrong spelling, and I have to apologize for that, but that's a disclaimer in the book, because I love writing. I used to do speech writing for people, but because of my rescue work, they were coming back going, sorry, it's not good enough. And they were right, because I was so tired writing. It was all mumbo jumbo. So that's one way of helping, and to follow my blog, that would be great.
What I'll do is, I'm in the description box below, I'm going to put all your social media and your website, and people can contact you directly if they would like to donate to you.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Hilltop Sanctuary.
Thank you.
And it's something, and we're going to be continuing this on all through Confident Women Island, because you are one of our charities that we're going to be going forward.
Thank you.
Women Island.
You're so good. You are really a great support. Thank you.
Oh, I wish I could do more. I wish I could just. Oh.
No, giving this platform is amazing. It's so funny. Someone contacted me, I won't say who, about speaking to them, and they said to me, it was on a program on a national radio show, and they said to me, will you make sure that you don't talk to anyone else before we talk to you? And I'm like, I don't have many people that want to talk to me. I was actually laughing. I was like, do they realize, and I was like, my ponytail was here when they were talking to me. I had a half cup of tea trying to syringe feed a sick cat. I was like, what? And then, do you know what happened? You then made contact about doing this. And I was like, hold on a second.
The universe is calling to you. You see? When you do good things and you're doing things to help other living beings, help is always on the way in some way.
Oh, Roisin, thank you. God, I'm going to have to play back all these lines you say. So. Even counselors need to be reminded because you're still a human being. So,
Who heals the healer?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And the reason why I love us go into this is because we've a lot of healing to do.
No, you are the healer. You're Catriona Lowery, the reluctant rescuer of Hilltop Sanctuary Island. Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me,
Thank
to have
you.
you on.
I really, really enjoyed this. And I sometimes I listen to podcasts and everyone's going, "Oh no, thank you for coming on again," and it's all going back and forth. I really enjoyed this.
I know, because once we start talking, we never stop.
I know. I have to get back and do all the feeding now. So